Yes, sir. Dieter and Hutch live on a what the hell day? Is it Monday? Is it Monday, Jake?
I guess it's Monday. I really don't know what day it is anymore, ever.
I know what
But
week it
it's
is.
Monday apparently.
I know what week it is. It's draft week. We've made it.
Ah,
We've
that's
gotten
right.
all the way to draft week. So, whatever rumors, nonsense, and innuendo you have in your mind, lock it in. Lock it in because nothing good's going to come. You saw a bunch of people jumping in on draft content Monday morning trying to pretend like they've been working this whole time. We've been at this for months, folks. We've been at this for months, and we're very
I
excited.
listen. I've stopped watching tape. I did my work, right?
Yeah.
I'm not putting myself through more. Like,
You don't have to cram for the final.
no, I made my draft guide. We're moving
Yeah.
on. You
I'm
know,
with you. I'm with you.
waiting
I
for the thing to happen.
I will not lie. I had to go back and watch some Michael Williams tape again.
To make I did the same thing because I was like, I'm not
Am
in
I
an
am I
insane person,
stupid? Am I
right?
crazy? No, I'm not insane or stupid. I love him so much. He's my favorite. Um, so yeah, just it was just a test, just a little test. We have some interesting stuff from Bruce Feldman, who obviously does great stuff in the
Yeah,
college football space. He talks to coaches and executives and all these people around the NFL. He knows everybody. Bruce is the man. I worked with him at Fox. He's the sweetest, nicest dude, great reporter. And he had a hell of an article with the Athletic today. We're doing a lot of athletic stuff today. Um, it's athletic day here at Dieter and Hutch. We're going to go through a bit of Bruce Feldman's thing in a little bit and pat ourselves on the back in a variety of ways. We're really going to be
right.
doing some yoga to figure out ways to pat ourselves on the back. But let's start with, is this news? Is this the news of the day, Jake, that Mike Silver's coming out with just some reporting, dropping it on the old tweet machine? Some reporting for the Athletic. 49ers offseason program begins tomorrow. Could have fooled me. And there's some uncertainty about whether players seeking new contracts, specifically Brock Purdy, George Kittle, and Fred Warner, are going to show up for voluntary activities. He continues, there's been some progress towards a multi-year extension for Purdy, and it will likely pay him more than $50 million a year. Question is, how much progress? I don't know, Mike. You tell me. Regardless, if Purdy shows up Tuesday, it's a sign that he and his agent believe they're very close to striking the deal. He's got that blue check mark, so he can keep going. If he doesn't, that probably indicates there's some significant obstacles that remain. Yeah. As of now, no decision has been made. Clearly, seeing as you're bringing this up, Mike. Furthermore, Fred Warner and the 49ers are yet to hold any substantive talks about a possible extension, but the veteran team leader is likely to report, kind of contradicting the original tweet. Kittle heading into the final year of a 5-year, $75 million deal is much more of a long shot, I presume, to report, as he and the 49ers remain far apart in discussions about a new deal. So that's a whole lot of words to say ain't nothing changed. Any of this strike you as, I'm just going to be very vague, interesting?
No. And every time I get asked about Brock Purdy, I kind of want to die inside because I'm not doing the negotiations, man. It's them taking their sweet time,
As
making
per
things
usual.
painful for everyone. And then so people go, well, nothing's changed. Does that mean it's like, well, it's the same as it was last week. We know what the dates are that matter. And it's like, so OTAs, right? This is the first part of it where
Sort
it's
of.
like sorta, kinda, not really, doesn't
Not
really
really.
matter.
We're
It's
talking like
training
end
camp.
of May is the first time that they actually have to show up to
It's like
work.
the mandatory ones that like
Mhm.
also don't actually matter that much. They do. They d
Yes, no, they
it
they do and they don't. I mean,
right,
nothing matters until like the second week of training camp. If we're being, if we're
right.
pushing it as far as we can push it, it's like August 1.
Which is my point is to say that's like, when you don't report to mandatory, you go, "Okay, that's how we're playing this. That's where this is at."
Mhm.
Until then, it's all, whatever, okay, you know? But it's like the 49ers are gonna
What is
do
it?
what they
What is
do.
it like now?
Eh, it's a little bit of meh. It's like when I gave guys, like, meh
eh,
athletic grades. It's
eh.
it's meh, and it's until we honestly get to mandatory minicamp and people start holding out, we get some sort of clear communication about where things stand, I
Right.
kinda don't care. I just think the 49ers do this, where they just hang out forever and make this excruciating for everyone involved, because that's the process.
Except that one time when they didn't with Christian McCaffrey.
And then they went,
were
"Oh
just
no,
like,
whatever, Christian, whatever you want, whatever you want, baby,
Christian.
baby,
No,
whatever you want."
no. We're just going to tether ourselves down for the next 3 years for you. Meanwhile, everyone else, it's. I mean, as George Kittle once said,
We have to do right by our guy, despite zero financial obligation to do so.
That's right. Deebo Samuel, how about another year? What do you say? Yeah, it is strange, but at this point, I mean, I think we're over it. I don't know how there's an appetite for this. I use this term a lot. I apologize. It's journalism. The TikTok of
Right.
the Purdy. Like, I don't understand. Okay, how about this? How about I pull this together into a cogent thought, Jake? I understand the anxiety of not having your quarterback signed to the long-term deal that you have promised him via third parties. That is frustrating for the fan. I totally understand why people would be like, "Hey, what's going on here? What's going on here?" But I don't see the upside in anybody managing this in part of their day-to-day for weeks to come. Like, just don't think about it. You don't have to engage with this kind of nonsense. When it's done, it will be done. And then we won't react about how long it took. We will react to how much money he got paid and how long he'll be here.
Enjoy your summers, you know? Like,
Brock Purdy's about to.
Right? Like, you know, chill out. It's a one time. You don't have to think about it. It's warm outside.
There are so many Faith Family Football podcasts that he's ready to get on. I mean, it's
can't wait.
Great summer.
Can't wait. Yeah, to me, I don't care right now. Quite honestly, I don't care.
Right.
It will matter when they get these deals done or if they don't. And we will get clear indications the deeper this goes in the summer. But unlike this Philadelphia Eagles, a team that likes to just do business and pay guys,
they just generally do business.
They just do business and then they get it done and then they pay their guys.
Right.
And then the 49ers go, well, we did that and it's no longer allowed. We're not allowed to pay anyone.
Right.
Except if we win our deals. If we win our deals, we can pay them.
Well, I said this in a recent show. Like, think about the deals that they've won. They've all been in season, and they've all been when the player sort of initiates the conversation. Like, hey, we'd like to get something done here. And the 49ers are like, oh, okay, fresh meat. We're going to kick this guy's ass.
The original Greenlaw deal, Lenore, and like Juwan Jennings. Like those sort of second-tier deals.
Right. And Juwan Jennings, and listen, let's also establish that all three of those guys were later round draft picks. Right. All three of those guys were, I don't believe, Pro Bowlers yet, though certainly all three of them, with Jennings being
sure
the
Greenlaw's
furthest.
ever been a Pro Bowler.
I
think he got snubbed every time.
I think that's right. But
or maybe
again,
he was,
they're all kind of precipice Pro Bowlers, right? Like if they were in the fact that we can't say one way or another with certainty that they were Pro Bowlers, one, speaks to the quality of the Pro Bowl, and two, I think it just indicates like we know how good they are. Like no one's questioning that those are high level NFL players. But that was before they maybe had reached the apex of their powers, with Lenore being the furthest down the line. Jennings obviously had been a number 3 receiver up until that point. So and then Greenlaw, like you knew how important he was, but there was still some question marks, and he's not a Mike linebacker, so how much money do you want to get that guy? All three of those deals proved to be favorable for the 49ers because it was just a sweet spot situation. That was the Goldilocks zone. You have guys who want to get something done. They want the security. It's kind of like in baseball when they're signing these dudes, they're buying out a couple of arbitration years. So they're getting a lot more money to start, and then on the back end, they're getting less money. But hey, the checks cash either way, and I don't have to worry about it.
I mean, the funny thing about this is like all of these contracts are public. Like we can see the details of every contract at every position. Yeah. So like the idea that like, you know, they're going to finagle a way to like win it when the market is what the market is.
I also just don't even know what winning is. Like, isn't winning having your starting caliber quarterback that you've talked up?
Winning is Nico Harrising it, where you just.
I mean, he's winning so hard. He's gonna, he's winning so hard that there's an exodus from the fan base. Like, I understand that it's a little bit different when you're selling basketball in Dallas versus football in Northern California in the Bay Area. Like the 49ers fan base is so big and so strong that one, we can make money off of them, and two, two, like you can whittle away a good portion of it through bad faith dealings, bad football. I mean, think about how strong the fan base was during the Tom Sula and Chip Kelly era, Jake. Like, there's a reason that Kyle Shanahan still came here. He could have gone anywhere else.
Right.
Now, he liked the power that the 49ers gave him. They had to give him. But more than that, I mean, he's like, it's the San Francisco 49ers. There's still a brand prestige there, and people will still go to games and still buy the jerseys. Isn't winning just having the goddamn quarterback thing settled, or is winning working the margins and feeling like you got one over? Because that's like a little man syndrome thing that I can't even get into. Like, that is the definition of sweating the small stuff. This is a big thing.
There's a real fixation on, like, we have to show people like we're still strong negotiators, which is like, you've always been pain in the ass negotiators. No one's doubting that. But like, wouldn't you ideally just like to get deals done so that the team is in the best possible place? And the idea that like I don't know that anyone's actually positing this, but like it matters. It matters when guys are in camp, because we've seen the results where players take time to get ready for the season. Every single player you talk to on the 49ers, Nick Bosa, literally, like Brandon Ayuk, anyone else you talk to and go, yeah, like Debo, like, it affects them. It affects them because the offseason is the only time you get real practice. Right. You get to get in shape. Like, you have to do your work outside the facility, but anyone will tell you it doesn't matter until training camp, and guys are puking on the field because that's how training camp practices work. And like, to not have guys already and all in the same program and like be unified in that, it actually does matter, and it's exhausting, and it wears on like the goodwill that they've built over years just to be like, well, like, we rewarded our top guys and now we're still doing that, but we're just going to be more obnoxious about it. And maybe we won't. Maybe we won't, because that's good business.
Nothing says here's a reward like let's get into a 12-round drag it out fight. Like, that's not how like my wife would reward me.
Right, but no one's throwing punches. No one's throwing punches. They're just going for Dan Campbell kneecap bites. Like, they're just biting themselves
over minuscule. I'm not saying they're unimportant, because every detail is important.
Right.
But they're fighting over small stuff when you're talking about a $50 million a year contract, and you're trying to figure out how much of that should be a fucking option year.
And their
like,
communication,
that's embarrassing.
Their communication has never been spectacular. Like, players go a long time without like really hearing from them, and then it's like there's a deal happening. Yeah. Like, you hear about even the way like Juice was talking about, all right, I guess I'm good to go, and then they cut him and they bring listen, like they've done a very good job of building up this organization. Gambit. And I'm not saying it's not a well-run organization, but there are certain things, especially in terms of communication with contract stuff, that they do very poorly and does wear on players. And they got away with it because they paid their top guys top dollar. And so you go, all right, all of it's worth it. Eventually we'll get our money. But then you're doing this thing where you're sort of tearing it down. It's very shaky, and they can absolutely pull it off and sustain this thing, especially if their view is really towards 2026. Yeah. But like, burning through a lot of this goodwill for the sake of deals is not, I think, the best way to go about it.
I just don't understand why they're still beholden to this concept of goodwill. Like, I understood why they needed to do that early in sort of phase 2, right? So they rebuild it. They get to a Super Bowl in 2019. Now guys need to start getting paid. And part of the culture that they wanted to establish, because it had been bereft of culture.
They had no culture.
Right? Like, the culture was Jim Harbaugh, which that is a strong culture. That goes both ways, right? And it's why Jim Harbaugh has to kind of leave places after a while. There's a lot going on there. It also wins a lot of football games, so you take the good with the bad.
Right. You get like 4 great years, and then it's over.
Right. And then Jim Tom Sula was there. I'm not sure any culture was established during that period of time, except for a culture of losing and hard and nobody giving a flying fuck. And then Chip Kelly came. He brought himself a culture. Did he ever bring himself a culture? Then he was out within a year because he brought himself too much culture. So Kyle and John come in, and it's like, as I was saying earlier, strong brand, powerful, uh, just a powerful fan base, powerful logo. Like these things mattered,
Right.
and they're like, okay, so how do we build this thing the way that we want? And it's a cool situation to end up in, where you have this brand equity, this big name, but you can also build it the way you see fit. One of the ways they saw it fit was, we want to establish early on, if you are an elite player for us, we're going to take care of you. That doesn't mean it's going to be a blank check or anything like that, but we're going to take
Right.
care of you. And they still are holding on to that. And I don't necessarily disagree with that as a principle. But at the same time, isn't the culture deep enough? Shouldn't they have the culture established enough to that, so that they can not have to hold on to that so tightly? They're very sacred about that concept, and it's not manifesting in
There's a,
overt ways.
and there's also just a level of like the clear communication that players are used to with Kyle, and sort of the openness there, and
Yeah.
treating them like adults and being able to like have conversations, at least with like the
Fantastic.
top guys, right?
Can't say
There's
anything bad about that at all. That's a
I
good
think
way to
it's
go about your work.
I think it's tough to reconcile that, to be like, all right, we've got that clear communication. Like Lynch is pretty good at communicating, like, and then
He's a
but
very
then
active. He's a very active
but
GM. He's out there on
right.
the field. He has relationships with players. I think he does a really good job.
But then they get to these negotiations and they're like, so what are we doing? And the 49ers are like,
You're missing it. You're missing it, Jake. You forgot the other person who's in the room. Who's not
congrats
there?
to Leeds United.
Correct. Who's not there the entire time when Kyle and John are building relationships, which, by the way, like as reporters, we understand that is a tricky thing to do. Have a positive relationship with somebody, but then also be able to, go into, for me, like ripping somebody in a column. Well, if I have a strong
Right.
relationship with a player, maybe I'm going to pull punches. That's not serving my readers. That's not serving this audience where we're pulling punches like that. We can have positive opinions. We have to be able to remove ourselves. Very difficult when you work with these people on a day in, day out basis and you play a sport that is effectively murder ball. So, like, those are going to be deeper, stronger relationships. And then here's Parag representing ownership, and Parag needs to make himself worthwhile for ownership. How does he do that? He's a little fucker in these negotiations, which, by the way, fulfilling the mandate of his job. Can't blame the guy for that, but it does create some serious tension, and I think it creates the incongruousness that we see from 49ers messaging, which, by the way, I guess Jed is in on it now, where it's like, we love our guys, we want to take care of our guys, and then you actually get over to the CFO side of things, and it's like, well, yeah, but we're not just going to do that. And Parag has no relationship with these guys. These guys don't know Parag from a hole in the wall until it shows up and they need the bulldog in the room to make sure that the Niners are, I guess, fiscally prudent in contracts handed out. I want to get into the chat real quick before we go to the Bruce Feldman thing. Our friend Tony says winning Brock's contract is not getting in the way of signing enough talent to make him to take him to the Super Bowl. Or a sentence that I can read. How about this? Paraphrasing. Winning the contract, as I said, what is winning this contract? Wouldn't it just be getting it done? Winning the contract
Right.
is not having to pay him so much that you can't bring in other talent. That is out the window. When you're paying someone 45, 50, 55, 60 million dollars a year, that is such a significant portion of the salary. Like the concept of, oh, well, we'll still have room to go do this, that, and the other is out the window. There are
Well,
ways you can do it. Well,
yeah.
you explain this stuff better.
Well, so like it depend like you can have a contract set up where it's like 28, 32, 34. Like when it comes in at 55, it's not going to be that. Like a lot of the money comes in on the
Correct.
back end. The question is like, how much does he want in guarantees, and like does he want it locked in for 4 years? And they're like, well, we'll go 3 and we'll guarantee a decent amount of 3, but really it's gonna be 2. And then
Yes.
we're gonna have an exit hatch at on 3. And he's like, well, I want 3 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. So like
Yes.
it gets into the wonkiness of like how much a team wants to guarantee, and if you want higher guarantees, it's just going to be trickier to get done because you have less escape valve. So the point is, the money is going to be more in like the 30 range than it is in the 60 range, despite whatever the numbers are.
Let's thank Patrick Santana for becoming an official sicko. Looking forward to talking to you on
Shout
Thursday,
out.
Patrick. I pulled up for our viewers here, and thanks to everybody who's joined in. Jalen Hurts' contract, which is
Hilarious.
batshit insane. So maybe this is
Awesome.
winning. Maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 void years is winning.
Well, that's the thing, right? The 49ers have like gone with these void years, and then this year they decide, all right, despite the fact that the salary cap is going up infinitely, basically, it will go up every single year, and it's going up more and more every single year.
Yeah, they said that about the stock market, Jake.
Right. Well, we're gonna put a plug. We're gonna put a plug in that, and we're gonna reset. Which, okay, that's your choice, but don't pretend like that was necessary, because the Philadelphia Eagles continue, as they did with Cam Jurgens and Jordan Mailata and all these guys, that they continue to re-sign and extend. You can just do so quietly and pay the guys, and you can retain them, and you can structure it where it's down the road, and you do have to face consequences eventually. But like the 49ers said this year, we're ripping off the Band-Aid, and we're doing it this way. Yeah. That's fine. Doesn't mean they had to do it that way. And then pretending like they do and have no other money to spend is disingenuous. And that's been, I think, my whole point this whole time. And again, maybe sign a $2 million player who doesn't factor into the comp formula to fill some gaps of it on a team that has a million gaps. Anyway, maybe they do that after the draft.
Another comment in here. I want to see who had it here. But effectively, yes, Nevin 1221. The sooner you sign him, the sooner Jed has to put money in escrow. Factual. It's 80% of the contract's guaranteed money has to be.
Maybe
in
they're
escrow.
waiting for the Premier League money to come in,
and that's exactly where I'm going.
Which doesn't matter. Apparently, it's totally.
It doesn't matter.
Totally.
But if Leeds didn't win 6-0 today, I mean,
it's all 49ers enterprises. But sure, that nothing's connected there.
No, my wife's spending has nothing to do with the household expenditures.
Right.
Is one guy controlling the checkbook? Yeah. So is it connected? Yeah. If he goes out to dinner, it's connected. Sorry. It's just how it goes, man.
It's almost like if you own multiple businesses and one business does really poorly, that might affect how you approach all of your businesses. Just a real galaxy brain thought there.
I mean, it'd be one thing if they didn't refer to it as 49ers Enterprises.
Right.
If it was like Jed York's side project that has nothing to do with the 49ers,
right,
I would be a little suspicious because that's my nature. But I would also be like, I don't know. He says it doesn't have anything to do. Maybe he's totally separated them out. But to be like, yes, we have used the 49ers Enterprises money to buy these other things, but it has nothing to do with the 49ers.
Right.
Is a bit of a stretch for me. Just something that maybe I just can't get over the hump on. Okay.
Right. You can say they're independently managed, but to say the overarching money involved, that is totally unrelated. Yeah. I don't buy it.
We have one giant pile of money created from the San Francisco 49ers. We then spend it on other things, but those things are run. Come on. I mean, I understand that we're in an age where everyone's being treated like a fool, but like,
right.
Let's stand up for ourselves here, people. We come on. They need to prove it. How about this?
Yeah.
Prove that it's not involved. And right now, pretty obvious there's some level of involvement. At least it creates a ounce of trepidation in throwing a big pile of money into Brock Purdy's account, wherever that might be. I presume in the Cayman Islands, in some sort of preparation. Okay, Jake, you sent a couple of these to me today. I'm just going to bypass a paywall for folks, and we're going to check out Bruce Feldman, who is one of our favorites. He does the Freaks List every year, which is very valuable for our...
Can you clarify what the Freaks List is? Because on the surface level, you might be like, the Freaks
So like
list.
Bearded lady, 7-foot tall man.
Lizard folk.
Yeah, the guy who's wearing the singlet and lifting the dumbbell.
Right.
Right,
Benjamin Button.
Yes, of course. It goes without saying. Yeah, lizard folk especially. No, the Freaks List is probably far too comprehensive list of college football players who are considered freakish athletes by their coaches, people around the college football landscape. Suffice it to say, Bruce Feldman knows everybody.
Right.
He's liked by... I've never heard anyone say a foul word about Bruce Feldman, and I've been asking. And He does this other thing every year, and when he does it, it's like 12,000 words. These are
Right.
novellas. 2025 NFL Draft Confidential. Woe is the need of a quarterback. What was the team in need of a quarterback this year? Man, where have I heard that before? That's so interesting, isn't it? Isn't that interesting? How basically Bruce Feldman goes and talks to all of these people around the league, and they might as well have just been reading the goddamn draft guide, Jake.
Listen, yeah, the point is, like, there's some spots in here where it's a lot of the stuff that we've been saying in the draft guide, and
Like, hey, here's Jackson Dart being the next best prospect. I like Tyler Shug better.
some
I'm not saying he's Joe Burrow, but he's got some Joe Burrow too.
there's
Where the
some Will
fuck have I
Howard
heard
love in
that
there too.
before?
There's
Yeah,
some
there's
Will
some Will
Howard love
Howard
in there
love.
too.
Okay, then we're just. I mean, this is great content where we're just scrolling. What about Quinn Ewers? I like his arm talent, his accuracy waivers. I'm not in on him. Basically, listen. And by the way, we have to be clear about this. This is Bruce talking to a whole bunch of people, so every opinion is more or less represented in this. We can
Right.
cherry pick with ease.
Totally.
And, like, I don't like Caleb Johnson. I don't think you liked Caleb Johnson that much either.
No,
Iowa
not
running
at
back.
all. He barely made it in my 150.
One running backs coach loves him. One offensive coordinator thinks he sucks.
Yeah,
Get this.
well,
Differing
when
opinions.
when people are like, yeah, he can only be in like an outside zone system and it has to be like blocked well for him. Maybe he's not that good. Maybe he's not that great. I mean, there's just so many good running backs in this class, and to just like you watch a tape and you're like, this is not moving the needle for me.
An interesting one is Quinshon Judkins, who is
Yeah.
somebody that I came around in and made my number one running back. I prefer him to Genty. Ironically, the guy that we both love, and we'll get into some of our double stamped guys. If you have the draft guide, you already know him. But we both love Travion Henderson. We think he's fantastic. I eventually moved Judkins over him because of Judkins' ability to get through smaller holes. That's a weird way of saying football things, but like that's the case. I like Judkins' immediate impact better, and I think he's a better blocker. But coaches that, yeah, I mean, listen, to each their own. We don't need to hash it out anymore. I think both of them are fantastic.
Agreed.
It's interesting that just going through this, and it is comprehensive. These people that Bruce Feldman's talking to love Travion Henderson, Jake. They can't get enough of Travion Henderson.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's a reason I have him number 2. Like, I have no questions about him. Like, he just does everything well. Like, I really, and like Hampton, I'm fourth. Like, Hampton's fun, but like I have more questions about him. There's a little bit of like a kind of.
I think we're going to lose Jake again, as per usual. This is about the time in the show that we usually lose Jake. Some other interesting aspects from this thing. Luther Burden, a lot of question marks there. As you know, that's pretty standard. I love this quote from wide receiver coach number 2, whatever that's worth, on Ibuka, who is someone both Jake and I love, though surprisingly not a double stamp guy for us. But with Ibuka, he may never be a number one guy, but he's gonna make plays, which is an outstanding line that, again, I haven't heard it before, Jake, as we try to pull Jake back up here because he didn't even show up on the same clip. Thanks, Jake. Appreciate you, buddy. Here we go. I think. Here we go. Hi, Jake. Regardless. Ibuka, we were talking about him a little bit in the last show about how, like, shouldn't you just take him? Like, if you have any questions, especially at this position, just take Ibuka.
Oh yeah, well that was my hot take, is that he's going to be the first wide receiver off the board because McMillan doesn't actually play the position all that well. No. Luther Burden has a lot of questions where people keep comparing him to Debo. I think he's actually more comprehensive than that. And then Golden is like a guy that people are pretty high on. But also
that. He's small though.
Right. But he also can't get off press yet, and didn't produce until like Isaiah Bond went down and just didn't have any sort of consistent production. And it's like Ibuka's like, you just know he's going to be a good player. Like, The problem is he's may just be limited to the slot. So,
Yes.
but also in the modern NFL, there's a lot of
With
like
the tight splits, who gives a shit?
there's like a lot of number ones that are just slot receivers. So I'm sticking by that prediction.
CeeDee Lamb. Sorry.
CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra.
Yeah, it's like if you're so fucking good, get outside. And to be fair, Amon-Ra does a lot of his work in the slot, but
Yeah.
they can't put him at X or Z. He can move all
By the way,
around the
I
formation.
remember when I told the 49ers to take him, people were like, no, they don't need a good wide receiver. They're like, they had
Woodgravy's
Juwan.
asking about Tucker, Jake.
Yeah, he's good. He what's cool about him is he pulls the cord on my internet once a show
No, he
now.
doesn't. No, he doesn't.
But he's doing great. Tucker's doing great. He's a menace to society.
He's the man.
And yeah, I was trying to exercise this morning, and he kept trying to lick my face. So
there you
go.
Good
dog. Good dog.
I took Moose on a walk. He gave up after about a block and a half.
Attaboy.
So there we go.
Moose is a big fella.
Moose is a big fella. Who would have seen that one coming? Loved this quote from tight end Coach One. Gavin Bartholomew of Pitt is a good player. He's very tough and gritty, and he can fit multiple roles. He's probably not getting talked about enough.
People seem to be awfully high on this tight end class. I don't really get it. There's like a lot of question mark players. Like I like Terrence Ferguson, but people are acting like he's a lot better than he is.
Terrence Ferguson's a question mark. It could work out, but there's a lot of miss to the hit.
Can't really block. Like there's just some misevaluation at tight end that's like kind of odd to me. And some people are very high in this class. Maybe I'll be wrong. And
it's really hard to evaluate it because much like nobody's playing NFL corner at the college level, like tight end, like what the fuck is even a college tight end?
Ask a lot of different things from the tight end depending on scheme. Like some people are like, you have to do everything. Some people are like, just be a move tight end for us and catch passes and sit down in zone. And some people are like, chip and release is the only blocking you're going to do. Like, depends on the scheme and what you need. So some people have Colston Level in their top 10. I don't get it. But
I don't see it either. He doesn't do it for me. But listen, if Colston Loveland was available in the second round, which he won't be, I'd love it. I think that would be a really nice pick. I just don't see him as a first round talent. And it feels like, and I kind of been noticing this with the Michael stuff as I've, again, just been looking for what I'm missing. I'm trying to find the thread that consistently knocks him down other than production, but then that doesn't apply, and not to get into the whole Larry thing again, but like that doesn't then apply with Shamar. Like how
has less production.
The cognitive dissonance of it is bizarre to me. Even though, by the way, I don't view Michael Williams' production as an issue because when you watch the tape, he's winning reps. That's all I give a shit about. I just care about if he wins reps. And when he doesn't just win reps, he demolishes reps. He's hilarious.
When I see a guy getting double teamed and then like pushing the double team back and holding, and then you watch a running back go, that's where I was supposed to run.
Yes.
What do I do? That shit matters to me. So
it does. It does. And I don't think that we can go, oh, Nick Bosa's doing a great job. No, listen, there are some people who are out here saying Nick Bosa's not getting sacks, Nick Bosa's not doing a great job. I don't agree with them. I'll leave it at that.
I strongly disagree.
Right. So we can't look at Nick Bosa.
He's the only defensive lineman on the goddamn field.
Right.
He's the only defensive lineman getting chipped and double teamed and people are trying to murder him.
Jordan Elliott's halfway to Fresno, but Nick Bosa's not getting any sacks.
Right.
So the idea
still is.
The idea that we can watch him win reps and have throw any analytic, any of this nonsense. I just see him winning reps consistently. What you're asking him to do, he's winning. And when that happens, we can't just go and be like, well, Michael Williams, he only had 5.5 sacks on a bad ankle on a team that rotates their defensive linemen way too much, and who, when he is on the field, like the tactic for an offensive lineman in that game against Tennessee was, I don't know, maybe I'll tackle him. I'll just tackle him right off the jump. I'll just tackle him and I'll take the flag because otherwise Nico, now UCLA quarterback Nico Iamaleava, is going to die. And I don't want that to happen. So,
I do want to mention the quote here. That was sort of the thesis for sending you all this stuff.
Yes, please.
It's a D-line coach who says, I think he will have a better career than Jalen Carter or
Mm,
Abdul Carter.
mm.
Did I
Jalen
say
Carter would
Jalen
be a
Carter? Did I
that
say
would be a
Jalen
hell of
Walker?
an accomplishment.
Jalen Walker, Abdul Carter. He's physical as fuck. He played hurt this year. He didn't care. Pullers come at him. He intends on fucking them up. Guys I know at Georgia told me he's better. He's going to be better than Walker, and I think Walker is a baller overall. I think he's the best of them, which is exactly how I feel.
Yes.
And then so you get down in the article, and there's some people that are like really high on Shamar Stewart, but I think the quote that like sort of encapsulates Shamar Stewart. And again, my opinion on Shamar Stewart is not that betting on those traits is a bad idea. It's that
No.
at the price point in the top 15, I think it's insane because I don't think he really knows how to play football. And like he's super athletic.
Totally.
I get it, right? You're a 10 out of 10 athlete. Understandable. But he is blind. I don't see him disengage well. I just see him driving blindly every play with no plan. So the quote is on Shamar Stewart, he's an avatar. If he hits, he hits. I don't know why he didn't have more sacks. I think he just plays lost. Everybody thinks they can fix it.
Exactly right.
This is like taking a receiver who only had 15 catches.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that.
Which
And then,
again,
yeah.
if he was winning more reps, I would have. First off, Michael has better production, right? He has double-digit college sacks, whereas Shamar Stewart had 1.5 sacks for 3 straight years.
Right.
2 other thoughts on this. 1, he's awful in the run game, right? Okay, so if you're just out here and setting the edge and, doing your job and you're winning run game reps, that'd be one thing. But he's awful against the run.
I wouldn't say awful. I would say blind. I would say listen, I would say there's times where I see him able to set the edge. And listen, like he got Membu at times. There's times
he absolutely
where
can set an edge. That's all he can do. And yet he's not able to disengage and tackle anybody.
Agreed. But I will say
so
there's
did
times,
he win?
Yeah.
I mean, like if I'm having to pay a top 15 pick for a guy who I can only appreciably say can set an edge.
But that's what people would say about Michael. Right.
They're wrong about that.
I disagree. Right.
Then I'm sorry that the YouTube highlight tape that some kid put together and blasted NBA Youngboy over didn't show enough of his winning reps. But, if you want to watch 22 goddamn games of this guy, it's available to you for a low price. Also, just the analysis of it is available to you if you're a subscriber to the channel and an official sicko.
I know.
I hate having to denigrate the other players to lift up somebody that no one else seems to want to lift up. Like Shamar Stewart is a first-round talent, but he is a boom or bust prospect. And I see a lot more bust than boom. I think Abdul Carter is a really nice player. I just see him as another Micah Parsons, and I think Micah Parsons is a flawed player who gets a lot of flash plays, and those flash plays will overprice him compared to his production.
I also think Micah is a little bit more physical. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's some injury concerns with Carter that just worry the hell out of me from the get-go. But the last quote on Stewart that is like from a scouting director is like, I'd be wary. He's a freak athlete, no question. I just don't know if he's a good football player. So it's not just us. These aren't just thoughts that we've had in a vacuum. These are like talent evaluators at the professional level who are saying the same goddamn thing because you watch the tape and that's what you see. You're like, man, I want to like him. I don't see it. And again, any defensive line coach that's like, worth their salt is going to be like, I can fix him, right? Because that's your job.
Correct.
That's your job. You're going to want to be like, all right.
Wish there was more meat on that bone, though.
I mean, there's a lot of meat.
I mean, but like in the sense of like, you're going to try to pretty woman him, okay? Or the better analogy is, he's the moldable ball of clay. Well, why is it that there are 3 other defensive linemen that have gone through the Texas A&M system who all seem to be able to do better? And this is an argument that I've heard. Oh, well, Shamar Stewart, he was just doing the dirty work for these other guys so they could get the glory. The tape does not bear that out at all.
Right.
It doesn't bear it out at all. He could have the glory. He just doesn't get it because he doesn't know where the ball is, what his responsibility is. And it's really interesting when, in past years, because the 49ers have done so well, we're oftentimes really getting into the nitty-gritty stuff with the draft right around combine time.
Yep.
And so we're on a sprint from when pro days are happening and combines are happening. And we are, to our detriment, I think, in retrospect, we are very traits leading. Or in the past, we've been very traits leading. We've had nothing but fucking time with this class, baby. And we were film leading this year. And I think it's really interesting. Like, I think last year we might have been higher on Shamar Stewart.
Probably, yeah.
Because we would have had the numbers first and then gone to the tape.
Totally.
There's some confirmation bias there. The flip side of it is maybe we're getting confirmation bias off of the tape, but isn't the tape far more important? Like, isn't being a football player more goddamn important? Because I love the trait stuff. I think the trait stuff is vital. It's absolutely vital, but you have to have the tape too. I have to see it.
And by the way, in the Feldman article, the next paragraphs talk about, how Scourton, his Texas A&M teammate, outproduced him. And, there's people that are like, he's maybe the better player, which is how I see it. Again, Stewart could boom. I think that's going to take time, though. Like, if you're talking about a team that like wants to compete right away, there's no doubt in my mind Michael Williams helps you immediately. Shamar Stewart is a project. You cannot argue with me. Like, he can have some production in year one, but like, he's a project. He has to learn how to play the position. I don't have that concern with Michael.
And this is an interesting thought from Charles, who came in. I hope that we didn't block Charles, because I think it's an interesting question. You noted that a defensive line coach worth their salt is going to be, very pro Shamar Stewart.
Yeah.
Okay.
I shouldn't have said it that way, but I know what you mean.
The principle is very sound, right? If you're a good coach, I can get this guy to where he needs to go.
Right.
But Charles asks a valid question. Who is Chris Kasarik taken in the first round on the D-line that he's turned into a stud? Did Nick Bosa turn into a stud, or did he show up ready to go?
Came out of Ohio State program that like creates elite edge rushers.
Story time. When I was scouting South Florida prospects, high school football, I spent a lot of time at St. Thomas Aquinas, which was like 3 blocks away. I almost lived there because they had 17, 18 Division I players in every class. And I made it a absolute point to go see Joey Bosa, who I believe at the time was going into his junior year. I had heard from enough people. They go, this guy's a 5-star. And I go, okay, I can't give him a rating until I've seen him with my own eyes. I'll go to an Aquinas practice on a Tuesday. And I go immediately. It's obvious, right? And by the way, going up against Division I offensive linemen on his own team, right? It's a college football program. Right. They could win in the Sun Belt, baby. So he's just, it's just wreckage. It's comical. It takes 5 minutes and you go, oh yeah, that's what that looks like. I'm talking to some coaches and they go, yeah, well, Nick's better. And I go, better than this guy? This guy's the best player in probably the country, right? And he's a legit, Joey Bosa had the argument for being the best high school football player in the country. And they go, Nick's better. And I go, where's Nick? And they go, oh, he's in 8th grade. And I go, oh, so like he will be better? And they go, no, Nick's better today. Nick could start on St. Thomas Aquinas in 8th grade. So the idea that Nick Bosa, it's not to take away from Nick Bosa's development and further progression in his career, and it's not to say that he hasn't been well coached. But when we're talking about, it's a bad analogy, but the LeBron James of defensive ends, he's just been this guy since he was, 13 years old. Right. Hard for me to give the credit to Chris Kasarik. It's just hard for me to do it. Meanwhile, pretty easy to look at Solomon Thomas, Javon Kinlaw,
Robert Beal.
Well, Beal wasn't a first rounder. There was,
Drake Jackson.
Drake Jackson, first pick of this, first 49ers pick in 2022
overall.
So I do think that there is something to be said as Jan comes into the chat. Like, are NFL coaches developing? Developing's probably too strong of a word. I think NFL coaches are honing. They're whittling down. There's certainly a lot that can be gleaned at age 22, or in the case of a lot of these prospects, 25 and on. I don't know if developing is the right term, though. It's a little bit further along. It's more of a finishing product.
Because Kasarik has been excellent with, like, random guys who have um, pretty high level talent that's been untapped in the sense of like Charles Amenahu,
Yes.
Arden Key,
Hmm.
um, our guy Samo. Like he's
Yeah.
really good with guys that, especially like the sort of the tweener types who like could be just outside rushers, but he gives them the ability to stunt inside and
Hmm.
rush standing up and takes advantage of their like multifaceted talent. He's excellent with that. And he's excellent at coaching like aggression and getting upfield. That philosophy has come into question. And I don't know if they're reevaluating it. I don't think they
I
are
don't think
because
they are. I think they doubled down on it. I think that they're
which is
all
why
in
I
on
bet
one
they
gap and
take
cover
Aeneas
three.
Peebles at 113 overall.
Yeah. Um, Alberto R. Lenore was developed by coaching. I'm not going to denigrate the coaches that have worked with Yamador Lenore because he's clearly gotten a lot better since he showed up. But I want to make something pretty clear. You and I had a conversation during Diamador Lenore's first camp that it was obvious that he was going to be a good slot corner because of his tenacity and
Or
because
that
of
he
his
should,
ability to
yeah,
open his
that he
hips.
should be playing in the slot, and there was like a mix of, and then they were like, no, he's only going to play outside, and then there, and it's like the same thing with like Renardo Green of like putting him in the slot and then being like, but he's an outside corner and like taking a sec to,
They get a little weird
I don't
with
know,
it. And
which
listen,
is
it's
like you
easy.
kind of got to open up the valve to see what else is in there
I'll
first,
give you that.
but maybe just let the person do what they're good at. I don't know.
I think it's easy for us to make definitive statements. You doing okay there, boss? Make definitive statements about, oh, he is good at this or he is good at that, because it doesn't matter what we say.
Right.
I think it's a lot easier to make those proclamations when our proclamations mean nothing and have no bearing on the future of an organization or a player. So we can get to the end point a little bit faster because there's no politics, there's no emotions, there's no uh, need to remain flexible. Life is all about, adapting and being flexible. When you have a player like Diamador Lenore, you gotta make sure that you don't pigeonhole him lest you need something down the line. I think that's why they did it with Renardo Green. Now, was it obvious that he was the clear number 2 corner on last year's team? You bet your ass. And they got there, right?
Yeah.
There's a little bit, but like when they were entertaining the idea of him not starting as he didn't at the beginning of the season. Well, yeah, we want to see him a slot. We want to see him
And we got a little too high on that Isaac Yadam supply. He looked pretty good, and then didn't look so
he
good.
really did look good at training camp, which
Great at playing with the sideline to help him. But out in
yes.
space, it gets a little funky.
The Real Deal asks, what makes Williams better than Harmon? Please explain. The tape.
Wait, say that one more time.
The Real Deal's asking, what makes Williams better than Harmon? He's very high on Harmon out of Oregon.
Williams is better than Harmon because the athletic ceiling is higher, and Harmon, there's a gut feeling. There's a gut feeling part of it. That is like the tape. I'm really impressed with Harmon. He is consistently disruptive. The lack of finish, the consistent lack of finish, and I went, okay, maybe he's got stumpy arms. He's got very long arms.
Yeah, he should be more impressive than he is.
So again, I like Harmon, but I think in a draft that's deep at defensive tackle, and I think Michael is he's like substantially better in terms of his floor than a lot of these other guys. I have him higher, and I think Harmon, again, well, not a bad player at all. I really like him.
He's a first rounder. He's a first rounder.
I don't know if you can teach a guy to learn how to tackle. Like shouldn't he be able to finish?
I hate it.
And again, there's so much disruption. Disruption is valuable in and of itself. Which is why I think if they take him at 11, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world at all. Yeah. I do think it's a misevaluation of depth in talent in this draft where you can go in round 3 and you can get guys that are like similar production at defensive tackle. And you can get 2 of them for way less of a price. Yes. So again, I'm not down on Harmon, but I do have like his total consistent lack of consistency as a tackler is a major concern for me. And there's some run game concerns, but I do think he's disruptive in the run game. But again, I think he's a really good player. I just think Michael has a higher ceiling, higher floor. And I just think he's going to learn a lot as a pass rusher. And like, we haven't even gotten to what that could be.
Alberto R asking, how much will you guys melt down if they take Simmons at 11? I believe you're misusing the term meltdown for celebrate. Simmons is our guy. We love Simmons.
I think Josh Simmons is an incredible player. I
We
think
can't
he's
get enough.
very, very, very clearly a top tackle in this draft. It's a question of being a big dude with patellar tendon injury. Can he come? How can he come back? Can he come
Yeah,
back? I
big
don't
question
know
mark.
the answer. I will leave that to medical professionals. Um, but
Yeah.
if I was going to draft any tackle in the first round, I would take Simmons, and then I love Membu too. But Membu could play guard for you.
Okay. Something we want to do here before we head out of Dodge. We'll come back to the chat here in just a little bit. These are the guys who, when we did the draft guide, I say we, Jake did the draft guide. We both stamped, and it was an interesting. I had been meaning to put this together. Thank you to Jake for doing it while I was on the walk with the baby and Moose. We have a lot of guys that we agree upon. We also were, part of the draft guide was to put a stamp. Like we want these guys to be associated with our names. We're putting our necks out there for these guys. And I find this list interesting. One, Josh Simmons is on it. So there's a good transition. It's interesting some of the names that are on here. I would have thought it'd be more, if I'm being frank, Jake. I thought it would be
More guys
more.
that we'd share.
Yes.
I was more. I chose fewer guys to give a full stamp to. I think that's basically what it is.
To be fair, I did post my 40 favorite players as a Merc column. So clearly I need to be a bit more judicious. But I just want to go quickly through these double stamped guys because this is the if you need to know any players in this draft, like automatic A from Jake and I, whatever that's worth, if they're double stamped. And we're going the full gambit here. This is every round, more or less. Travion Henderson, double stamped. We love Travion Henderson.
Yep.
Can't get enough of him. I don't see a downside in Travion Henderson.
No, he's just going to be a good player.
Exactly. Do I think he's as good as his running back field mate, Judkins? No. Is it negligible? Perhaps. And would I prefer him to Ashton Genty? Yeah, probably. Probably. We love Travion Henderson. You should love Travion Henderson too. We love DJ Giddens. We're not putting him in that same standard, right? We know what DJ Giddens is. He's a really good running back. 4 years at Kansas State. Just a quality zone back. And if you're looking for somebody that the 49ers can get a little bit later on, don't have to be in that first tier of running backs, which is going earlier and earlier.
Yeah. I have him immediately after that in round 3.
Luther Burden. We love Luther Burden. Great offensive fit. I think that all of this yapping about Luther Burden is unsubstantiated. There are things that you can get on about him in terms of consistent play effort and things like that. Those are not the concerns that seem to be floating in the ether.
Yeah.
All he was loyal.
He does look checked out at times.
Oh yeah.
But I kind of would be too at Mizzou the way that season went. Sorry, I know this is a soft spot for you.
No, it's okay. It's factual. I mean, listen, there's nothing that you can say that I haven't told. That I haven't told all of my friends in the Mizzou group chat.
He's also doing a lot of motion and a lot of stuff that's just like exhausting and then not being involved.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. No, but I love Luther Burden. Besides the ball in his hands, like I actually do think he's a crafty player, and I do think there's some like real route running ability there. That's more than like he gets compared to Debo. Like Debo can't run a goddamn route. Debo's not a receiver.
No, it's fair.
He's a great player, awesome player, not a
okay.
real receiver.
The whole he could be Debo Samuel thing is so over. It means nothing anymore
because Debo's one of one. Like there's never been a Debo.
You can line him up in the I formation as the deep back. You're not doing that with Luther Burden.
No,
come on,
it's insane.
You're not doing that
when
with
people compared Malachi correlated to Debo. It's like shut up.
No,
you don't know what you're talking about.
Frankly, it's a lot easier to take a running back and turn him into a wide receiver than to do what Debo Samuel did.
Correct. Yeah.
And yet here we are.
Yeah.
We talked about Simmons. We both love Simmons. Do we agree there's red flags with the medical? Absolutely. Do we think he's the number one guy on this board and an absolute value if you're talking late first round?
Don't let the fucking Chiefs get him. So
Don't let the Chiefs get him. We both love Clay Webb. This was the most surprising name that double popped.
He's awesome, man. He's awesome. He's
He's a,
such. He's
he's a
so
stump.
mean.
He's
He's
a
so
stump.
mean. He's like, dude. He is. No one pulls in the draft better than him. He pulls, and he's like a snowplow,
Yeah.
but like a shorter snowplow who's ready to run through your face. I just literally love watching him play. You see it immediately when you watch Jacksonville State. You're like, this guy's sick. He just loves contact.
Love
He
it.
wants to run through people. Like he's gonna start in year 1 at guard, I
Yes.
think. He's
Yes.
just a great player. Like get him in round 4 and you're like, he's as good as any other guard we could have gotten.
We both love Demetrius Knight. We just think that he's plug and play at a position that's very difficult to find plug and play players.
Yes.
He's out for blood. Trey Amos, clean, just clean.
Yeah.
You
Agreed.
I don't
talked
think
about him substantially.
he's your Renardo Green. Last year, you were all about Renardo Green. This year, you're all about Trey Amos. We're going to ride with you on that one. And listen, I have to cross check all these. Like I'm watching all these guys too. Man, you ain't kidding. You ain't kidding. What is there to worry about?
He just knows. He has all the traits, and he knows how to play corner as well as anyone.
Maxwell Hairston. Listen, there are concerns. I think the chat is going in about some of the concerns with Hairston. That is valid. I can't speak on it. I've gotten so
Off
many
the field concerns.
Yeah. There are so many mixed reports. I don't know what to do.
I love that no one's direct in this entire process, and I'm not saying that stuff's not legitimate.
I don't know. There's some consensus to be sure, right? Like, listen, you're dealing with a lot of people who aren't talking to each other, so you're going to get differing opinions. That's fine. That's great. That's if it was all consensus opinions, this wouldn't be any fun. But the idea, I can't knock Hairston off my list yet.
He's awesome. He's outrageously fast. He can play a variety of coverages. Super great understanding of spacing. Never fooled on double moves.
Never.
Outstanding athletic traits. I compared him to Jalen Ramsey, which is I know.
Hey,
but
that's not bad. That's not a bad comp. We both love Kobe Bryant.
Yeah,
listen, we're not asking much. Just
he's gonna go.
A little fucker.
I think the Niners are gonna take him out in like round 4. They're gonna miss out on the early run of corners because I think you're gonna get to 43 and both Amos and Hairston. The top 5-ish guys will be gone. Siobhan Ravel's like an interesting question mark.
I like Ravel.
Somewhere in there. And Benjamin Morrison's interesting too. There's like those two guys.
Yeah. I wasn't as high on Morrison as others.
I
see
watch
they're
him,
talking about.
Yeah. Sometimes I watch him like this guy's outstanding. And then other times I'm like, what am I looking at here?
A little flat-footed sometimes. Makuba, we talked about this on the last show. I do want to bring it up again. I don't think the Niners can take Makuba.
You don't think they can?
I don't think. Oh, okay, that's a. Thank you for the semantical point out. I don't think they should. I think that's too much murder in a defensive backfield.
I strongly disagree. and it's so if you're talking about injury concerns, fair. You know, like you're gonna lose those guys at some point in the season.
You better have Dan Jackson in reserve if that's the case.
Right. But I also think Makuba just like can play actual free safety really well.
Oh yeah. No, we love him.
But
there's nothing wrong with the tape, but he
does. Yeah.
He's about to explode a vertebrae.
Yeah.
I don't know whose, but someone's vertebrae is getting exploded.
Little Jimmy Ward like.
Oh, that's interesting because I go back to when Jimmy Ward got moved to say he hated it so much. He was so
Jimmy
good
Ward
at it,
was always yelling, always complaining about his coaching, which I love Jimmy Ward. Jimmy Ward was like my favorite player to talk to.
He was the best.
He is the best, yeah.
A lot of people wondering why Makuba isn't on the list. And Jake, I leave that to you because he sure as hell had my stamp. I'm sorry, not Makuba. Membu.
Oh, yeah. I thought about it. I really like Membu, but there is like an element of I want more murder in his eyes.
Fair enough. You want more Makuba.
I wanted him to just finish a little bit more consistently, and there's times I saw him open up his hips. So there's a little bit of that just I wanted to give it. I didn't, but like he's pretty close to getting a stamp.
Who missed out on the stamp that, in retrospect, you kind of wish you gave
CJ West. I don't know why I didn't give him a stamp, to be honest. I think I
Okay.
just was trying to be contrarian because he was your guy, so I was trying to stay away. But like
Yeah.
CJ West for sure gets my stamp.
Can you give
Yeah.
me your top three guys? It doesn't have to be a round. Doesn't have to be anything. I mean, we're gonna go with I presume Amos
Yeah.
as one. That's your guy.
Yeah.
Give me two other guys.
Vernon Broughton obviously is going to be
Right.
on there.
Right.
Guys that got my pure stamp, and then you know who I really want to say?
Who?
I want to say Drew Kendall.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I'm
I
gonna
think
say
Drew
Drew
Kendall's
Kendall.
going to be rock solid. What
I think he's
what have we seen from Drew Kendall? Like Drew Kendall, if you just look at the tape,
he's
and
my
then
Tanner Bordellini.
he was good last year. Okay,
Started as a rookie.
that's good
Maybe
stuff.
the 49ers should take some of these goddamn interior offensive line prospects that were, you know? Remember when the 49ers didn't draft Creed Humphrey and they drafted Aaron Banks? I sure don't. I don't remember. Remember? No? No one.
I do remember that.
Wasn't
Niners on the Go podcast saying Broughton's a 7th rounder. Incorrect.
You are wrong, and I
It's
will try
fine.
and be polite.
He'll get up on it. Tyleek Williams. And neither of us are high on Tyleek Williams. Double thumbs down on Tyleek Williams, if we're being honest.
I would give Tyleek a real, like when they're in Gladiator and they're like doing this, they're like, should I? And I just don't have
people
a
view our podcast.
Sure. Yeah, Tyleek is. Yeah, I wanted to like him more, and I kept seeing people being like, he's a first rounder. I'm like, I don't see it.
I can't.
I think he's like a space eater who like sometimes gets displaced in the run game in a way where I'm like, that's your whole thing. And then I don't see him doing much in the pass game, and maybe that's part of that scheme and what he's asked to do, and he's the last line of defense and has to wait. Didn't move. I like Ty Hamilton more when I watched Ohio State's defensive line group.
I can buy that. I was actually shockingly underwhelmed by Ohio State's defensive line.
Their defensive ends, I just got nauseous.
Jack Sawyer's like a good college football player. And you know what? There's a chance that it all hits. That
and maybe Tuimoloau out, like, maybe he figures it out. There's just like it's weird. He's like an athlete who's sluggish. It's like, wow, he springs off the line of scrimmage, and then other times it's like he can't move. He's a frustrating watch.
Yeah, he is. Torrey Horton is George Pickens. You're a Horton guy.
I don't think that's an accurate comp at all.
Who do you like him to?
I'm gonna find out who I comped him to because I don't remember who I gave him.
I don't blame you, buddy. Mug's saying that our list is now posted.
Bateman.
Oh, that's actually really good. I apologize. Yeah. That's really good.
Because he's like
no
kind
one wants to be compared to Rashad Bateman until you need somebody on the waiver wire in week 12 of fantasy football, and then here's Rashad Bateman for you.
He's a field stretcher. You can throw him the ball underneath. I think he could be really good. I like Torrey Horton a lot.
By the way, our list now posted in the Rams draft war room. So thanks, Muggs, for pointing out that the Rams steal our stuff. They don't really steal it as much as that's a different story for a different day.
It's okay.
Savion Williams. I don't think we've talked about Savion Williams enough for a very buzzy prospect.
For someone who I initially hated. I initially hated him. And what's good about this process is it gave me time to change my opinion. I think it was the way they used him in the game I watched where like nothing was happening. And I was like kind of meh on him. And then he's my number 9. I like describe him as a worker. He ran a 4.48 with elite splits, and he's just huge. He's 6'4", 220.
Humongo.
Decisive breaking on his outcuts. Great frame, committed blocker, really hard to tackle. 51 carries, along with 60 catches.
He's fun.
Downside is I'm not sure he knows what he's doing as a receiver and takes a second to get his head turned around.
Neither
some
did
drops. Some drops. There's like a Laviska Shenault, Cordero Patterson thing that maybe is just like frame wise that I'm comparing him to.
Both of them still somehow in the NFL.
But, I do think round 3, especially if it's like the second half of round 3 and Savion Williams is there, you're going to get utility out of him. You don't know if he's going to be your
Yes.
actual outside starting X receiver, but
Mm.
like you're going to be able to put him at Z and put the ball in his hands in a number of ways, and he's going to be annoying for defenses, and he's going to wear on them with physicality, and he's got contested catch ability. So he's fun.
Motherfucker could at least return some kicks.
He is large and strong and fast, and that usually can take you some places, especially
like
when
it.
you care and you want to block.
And you want someone to run a clear out route? Have I got a guy for you? Just put him out there.
The UCF highlights are crazy, by the way.
They're so much fun.
It's insane what he did to UCSF.
Okay.
Or UCF.
Jeff saying Dieter's favorite guy is Jackson Dart. No,
it's okay. It's okay. Couldn't even make a joke because it made you too angry. I get it.
No, it makes me so angry. By the way, one more time. I think Shamar Stewart is fine. I just would not take the risk. I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't do it. He has a grand total of 4.5 collegiate sacks. He was on the field every time. I can't do it. If he hits, that's fine. Tyler, Dieter's definitely a chronic road rager. No longer. I figured it out.
Oh, yeah.
I got that in control.
Podcasts?
Legitimately, listen, I get amped up. I get revved up, right? I have strong opinions. We got to come with some strength, right? I'm turning into Joe Biden here. Come on, folks. It's fine. It's fine. One, I understand that this market in general, and YouTube, I wouldn't qualify as like the San Francisco market. When I do radio, people are like, why are you so upset? Why are you so upset? And it's like, I'm not upset. I'm trying to.
This is how I express myself.
I'm a passionate person. I love too hard, Jake. We got to be. If you don't have something to say, what are we doing here? I can appreciate that you can do it in a sane, calm way. I grew up southwest side of Chicago, baby.
Mostly, and then sometimes it breaks me. Like I grew up in New Jersey, where the way I communicate with the road is I'm like driving normally, but then I'm just like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And my girlfriend's like, are you okay? I'm like, oh yeah, I'm great.
Yeah.
Now, look at how I'm driving the same way.
It's fine. It's fine.
I'm just
making mortal enemies.
Right.
I'll find you. It's it is what is the line in MacGruber where he just remembers the license plate for the entire movie. Takes a dump in the car. That's it. Just V9424. That's Jake in the car. Yeah. Me, a quick finger, and we move on.
Nice.
You know. What we got? Thornton, Tennessee. Charles Lemp saying Thornton from Tennessee. As I was saying with the clear out route, if you need someone to run a clear out route, have I got a guy for you? He's massive
and fast. He will run in a straight line. He is. Listen, he could genuinely become the best wide receiver in this class. Like he absolutely
just
could.
Never throw him the ball.
He could also do nothing.
Yes,
he is.
It is far more likely he will do nothing.
For sure.
He is the Shamar Stewart of wide receivers.
He's just Marquez Valdez-Scantling, but large.
Still in the league.
Yep.
Okay, Jake, legitimately, this is perhaps a horrible thought exercise. Explain to me the difference between Thornton at Tennessee and Shamar Stewart at Texas A&M. Going back to the quote from the Bruce Feldman thing.
No, it's extremely similar. It's like an all traits bet. And then there literally is a comparison where it's like taking a wide receiver who has 15 catches.
Did he have like 23?
No. It's extremely similar. It's the same idea, but Stewart you're taking at top
20,
15,
10
by some people, and Dante Thornton you're taking in like round 3-4.
Dante Thornton, you can make the argument should be a top 100 pick. That's an argument that can be made.
Right. Because you're going, we can teach him. Right? You got a quarterback with a big arm, and you just go, either he's just going to take the safety out of the play. Right?
That's awesome. Yeah.
He's going to be
Shamar Stewart's at least going to set the edge. And here we go. That's it. We're done talking about him. One more thing. Blitzkrieg saying Elijah Badger, a sleeper wide receiver. I can't believe I couldn't get you in on Badger. I'm big on the Badger.
I wasn't out on Badger. I just didn't come around to him in time to get a full eval in the draft guide.
Well, what'd you think now that you've had time to get a full eval?
I have not. I was not doing extra evals.
It's A-okay, because if they got him, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go on Elijah Badger. He is very fun. I think he is extremely enticing. And you want to talk about somebody, Niners on the Go podcast talking about Io Manor. Is that how you pronounce the Stanford
Io
kid's name?
Manor.
Io Manor. Yeah. I
I just
wasn't
said it
I
the
wasn't
same way.
high on him in the sense that he had that one great game against Colorado and he kind of disappeared. A good counterpoint is they had zero quarterback talent at Stanford. Buddy, you ain't kidding. You know who else had zero quarterback talent until just recently? Florida. Mertz sucked.
True.
It was great for me as somebody who hates Florida, but Badger is.
Yeah.
How about this? I'm going to give it a 1% chance that Badger's the best wide receiver in this class.
Love it.
Love him.
Love it. It's
Can't
a great
get enough
take.
of him. Okay. Let's leave it at that. We're going to talk tomorrow.
Yeah.
We're going to
We'll talk
again.
tomorrow. John Lynch is speaking tomorrow.
Yes. I'm sure that will be interesting.
So figure that out. There'll be whether the guys report or whether they don't. And remember, if you have not got the draft guide,
That's right.
Genuinely, it's worth it. Put in a lot of work. It's $4.99. Sign up. Click the join button as an official sicko.
That's right.
And it's useful after the draft too. You're gonna be in the summer and you're gonna be like going into the season. You're like, what was this guy like? Who is this guy? You're gonna be watching preseason, and it's gonna be useful, genuinely, all season long. So
the way that I sold to Jake is get a head start on the next 5 years of the NFL. Like this is why we do the draft. We don't want to have to be catching up because we heard some name on NFL Network that someone erroneously threw out there. I'll also say that if you become an official sicko, you get to talk with us on Thursday. We're going to be doing the first round. We're going to be talking all the way up to the 49ers and then a lot after that. And if you want to be hanging out with us, you want to be talking it through, you want to be yelling at us, you're going to have to be an official sicko.
You can yell.
Friends only. Friends only.
Yelling is allowed. Yelling is allowed.
I think we'll do friends only on Friday too. Sunday, if we get a chance, because the goddamn Warriors. Maybe it'll be Sunday morning. Maybe we open that up for everybody. But we appreciate everybody who's already subscribed. That costs you nothing, and we enjoy the conversation immensely.
And a lot of people have gotten it already. A lot of great feedback. Genuinely, massively appreciate it. Sickos are fantastic. You guys have great discourse, great questions. I really appreciate you folks.
And I do like Nevin saying the draft guy will be great for second guessing you guys next January. You bet your ass it will. Our necks are out there. We're ready to go. We're going to have a blast this week. Looking forward to it immensely. Again, if you're not an official sicko yet, and there's going to be a whole bunch of more goodies coming your way if you're an official sicko beyond just the draft guide. You can do it. You might have to go on the desktop. We apologize.
YouTube,
just hit that join button. Leave Apple out of this. We're going to have some fun, though, this week. Looking forward to it.
Appreciate you.